Look out your window. What do you see? A bird on a wire? A squirrel darting across the road? A lizard skittering up a wall? For most of us, this is just the background noise of city life. But what if I told you that you're witnessing evolution in action? Not the slow, creeping process you learned about in school, playing out over millions of years, but a high-speed, real-time drama unfolding in our own backyards. Our cities, these sprawling hubs of concrete and steel, are not just landscapes. They are powerful engines of evolutionary change, rewriting the very DNA of urban animals at an astonishing pace. This is urban evolution, and it's one of the most exciting fields in modern biology. The notion that evolution takes millennia is being fundamentally challenged. Here, in the city, it's happening over decades, sometimes even in just a few generations. Today, we're diving into the intricate ways city life is rewiring animal DNA, uncovering a story of survival, innovation, and the unseen dance between our civilization and the natural world. Cities are extreme environments. They are hotter than the surrounding countryside, a phenomenon known as the urban heat island. They are awash in chemical pollutants, fragmented by roads and buildings, and offer a bizarre smorgasbord of new foods, from overflowing garbage cans to bird feeders. Each of these characteristics acts as a relentless selective pressure. Animals that can't adapt are filtered out. Those with advantageous traits, often arising from random genetic mutations, thrive and pass on their successful genes. Over time, these changes accumulate, leading to populations of urban animals that are demonstrably different from their rural cousins. Let's look at the architects of this change, the key drivers of urban evolution. First, there's the noise. The constant low-frequency rumble of traffic and construction creates a huge problem for animals that use sound to communicate. For birds, this noise can completely mask the songs they use to attract mates and defend territories. In response, many urban bird populations have evolved to sing at a higher frequency. Their songs literally cut through the low-frequency city din. This isn't just a learned trick. A study of great tits across 9 European cities found consistent genetic differences in urban populations, specifically in genes linked to adapting to these new cognitive demands, including changes in song. It's a continent-wide pattern of parallel evolution, where different populations independently evolved the same solution to the same problem. Then there's the light. Our cities exist in a state of perpetual twilight, thanks to artificial light at night, or ALAN. This profoundly disrupts the natural cycles that have governed life for eons. For nocturnal animals, the consequences are immense. Some species of moths, famous for their fatal attraction to flames, have evolved to be less drawn to light in urban areas. This makes perfect sense. Moths that fly towards a streetlight are easy prey, so natural selection favors the moths that stay in the shadows. For other animals, like certain bat and deer species that avoid light, our brightly lit cities create invisible walls, fragmenting their habitats and isolating populations. Next, let's talk about the physical structure of the city. Our parks and green spaces are like islands in a sea of concrete. This habitat fragmentation creates small, isolated populations, which has a huge evolutionary consequence called genetic drift. In small populations, random fluctuations in gene frequencies from one generation to the next have a much larger impact. A trait can become common, not because it's helpful, but simply by chance. The white-footed mice of New York City are the poster children for this. Populations in different city parks, like Central Park, are now genetically distinct from one another. Scientists can look at a mouse's DNA and tell you which park it came from. The genetic divergence between these park populations even corresponds to the historical development of the city, providing a clear timeline of their evolutionary journey. This isolation, driven by our urban planning, is a powerful force pushing these populations down different evolutionary paths. Of course, we can't forget the food. The urban cafeteria offers a diet unimaginable to an animal's ancestors. And this has led to evolutionary changes in metabolism and even body shape. In Arizona, for example, some urban house finches have evolved different beak shapes compared to their rural cousins, likely an adaptation to cracking open the harder, larger seeds often found in backyard bird feeders. The changes go deeper, right down to the genetic level. Studies on those New York City mice have identified specific genes under selection that are involved in metabolizing fatty acids and dealing with toxic chemicals. Essentially, the mice are evolving to better cope with a cheeseburger and fries lifestyle, a direct result of our discarded leftovers. Finally, there's the chemical cocktail. Cities concentrate a wide array of pollutants, from heavy metals to pesticides. This creates intense pressure to evolve resistance. One of the most incredible examples is the Atlantic killifish, a small fish that lives in some of the most polluted estuaries on the U.S. East Coast. These fish have evolved a stunning resistance to industrial toxins like dioxins and PCBs, at levels that would be thousands of times lethal to other fish. By sequencing their genomes, scientists discovered that different killifish populations have independently evolved similar genetic solutions to this toxic problem. It's a testament to the power of natural selection to find a way, even in the most hostile environments. Now, let's zoom in on a few of these evolving creatures. In Puerto Rico, the crested anole lizard is adapting with breathtaking speed. Compared to their forest-dwelling relatives, urban anoles have evolved longer limbs and larger, stickier toe pads. The reason? The city is full of smooth, broad surfaces like walls and glass, a far cry from the narrow, rough branches of a tree. Longer limbs allow for faster sprints across open areas, and the stickier toes, which have more specialized scales called lamellae, let them grip slick surfaces with ease. To prove this was genetic, researchers raised the offspring of both urban and forest lizards in the same environment. The differences persisted, confirming it was a heritable, evolutionary change. These city lizards have also evolved a greater tolerance for heat, a crucial advantage on sun-baked concrete. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving in a world we built. For species with short generation times, like insects and fish, the pace of change is even more dramatic. The evolution of pesticide resistance in urban insects is a classic arms race. We invent a new insecticide, and within a few years, cockroaches, mosquitoes, or bedbugs evolve a way to survive it. When a pesticide is used, the few insects with a pre-existing mutation that confers resistance survive and reproduce, quickly creating a new, resistant population. So how is this all happening at the molecular level? The DNA itself is being rewritten through a few key mechanisms. Natural selection is the main driver, but in the fragmented populations of cities, genetic drift, that element of chance, also plays a huge role. And then there's a fascinating field called epigenetics. Think of epigenetics as a rapid response team. It involves chemical tags that attach to DNA and change how genes are expressed without altering the DNA sequence itself. These tags can be influenced by the environment, like stress or a new diet, allowing an organism to adjust quickly. Critically, some of these epigenetic changes can be passed down to the next generation, providing a mechanism for incredibly rapid adaptation, much faster than waiting for a random DNA mutation to occur. Perhaps most fascinating is the discovery of parallel evolution. We've seen it in the city birds singing higher-pitched songs, the anole lizards with their grippy feet, and the killifish resisting pollution. In a global study, scientists found that white clover plants in 160 cities worldwide have consistently evolved to produce less hydrogen cyanide as a defense. This parallelism suggests that the evolutionary response to city life is, to some extent, predictable. The common challenges of our cities are eliciting similar evolutionary solutions over and over again. These genetic changes don't happen in a vacuum. They ripple through the ecosystem, creating what scientists call an eco-evolutionary feedback loop. An urban predator evolves to be bolder. This puts more pressure on its prey, which might then evolve to be more vigilant. The evolution of one species drives the evolution of another. and we are a key part of this loop. Our decision to put out bird feeders or use a certain type of pesticide acts as a powerful selective force, and as wildlife adapts, we are forced to change our strategies, creating a co-evolutionary dance between human culture and animal genetics. So, what does the future hold? The evolutionary drama in our cities is only intensifying. It's possible we could see the emergence of entirely new species. As urban populations become more isolated and diverge from their rural cousins, some may eventually become new life forms forged in the urban crucible. The city blackbird might one day be a taxonomic reality. But this is also a cautionary tale. For every successful urban adapter, many more species are pushed out. Evolution isn't always fast enough to keep pace with habitat destruction. And as animals do adapt, becoming bolder and better at exploiting our resources, the potential for human-wildlife conflict increases. The path forward lies in designing our cities with evolution in mind. Creating wildlife corridors to connect fragmented habitats, planting native vegetation, and reducing noise and light pollution can help us foster coexistence instead of conflict. The story of urban evolution is a powerful reminder that we are not separate from nature, we are one of its most potent forces. The concrete jungle is not a sterile wasteland. It is a dynamic, evolving ecosystem, and its story is our story too.